Hi class. I'm going to work through a few homework problems from section 2.4. This is Introduction to Equations. The first question, determine whether an algebraic expression or an algebraic equation is given. And then we have 1/6 times 4 plus 6x equals negative 12. The easiest way to determine if it's an expression or an equation is the equal sign. If there's an equal sign present, that means it's an equation. An expression could be something like that, 4x plus 6, where x could be any number out there. If it's an equation, 4x plus 6 equals 10, x can only be one value if it's an equation. For this problem, you would mark that it is an equation. Determine whether each value of x is a solution of the equation. So what we'll do each time is we'll take the value, this first one given is x equals negative 8, and substitute it into this equation 2x plus 5 equals negative 11. If both sides are equal to each other, then we can select it is a solution. So 2 times negative 8 plus 5, we're going to see if that equals negative 11. Orders of operations say to multiply first, so this is negative 16 plus 5 equals negative 11. And yes, negative 16 plus 5 does equal negative 11, and so you would mark solution. For the second one, x equals 3. This is 2 times 3 plus 5 equals negative 11. 6 plus 5 equals negative 11. 6 plus 5 is positive 11, and it does not equal negative 11, so you would select not a solution. This question asks for you to solve the equation. Solving the equation is working orders of operation backwards. If we were to solve this question, if we knew what x was, we would plug in the value for x, add it to 7 to check to see if it equals 18. Since we don't know the value of x, we're going to back up that process to figure out what x is. And to do that, there's certain properties, and I sure hope that you have seen this in class or you've watched a few videos, but in order to solve for x on this problem, we want to know the value of x before 7 was added to it. We know whatever the value of x is, when you add 7, you get 18. And so to reverse that, we're going to subtract 7. Because it's an equation, you have to subtract 7 from both sides. Positive 7 minus 7 is x. 18 minus 7 is 11. X equals 11 is your final answer. Okay, let's try that again. The equation reads 5 times x equals 50, so 5 times something equals 50. To reverse that, I want you to divide by 5 to both sides of the equal sign. 5x divided by 5, that simplifies to 1, so we actually just need to put the variable x. 50 divided by 5 is 10, and you can actually plug this back in. 5 times 10, it does equal 50, so that's your final answer. Okay, take a look at this one. The instructions say write an algebraic equation. Do not solve the equation. It says during a football game, a running back carried the ball 12 times, and his average yard per carry was 5.5. How many yards did the running back gain for the game? And it says let x represent the unknown quantity. Okay, I don't know a ton about football, but I do understand a running back, and he must have ran a lot during this game. He actually had the ball 12 separate times. If you take the total amount of yards that he ran for the entire game, and if you cut it into 12 times that he had the ball, that equals 5.5. So if we look at each of these equations, the first one says x equals 12 plus 5.5. Well, that doesn't make sense because it didn't say anything about him running for 12 yards. X times 12 equals 5.5. That doesn't make sense either because x would be a really small number for it to be multiplied by 12 to equal 5.5. Because remember, x is the total amount of yards, so it should be a larger number than 12 and a larger number than 5.5. The next one, x equals 1 over 12.5.5. That's going to be a very small fraction. The fourth one, x times 5.5 equals 12. Again, 12 is the number of times that he had the ball, not the total distance that he ran. The last one is x divided by 12 equals 5.5. This one is the correct answer because the total that he ran if you were to divide that total by 12 equals 5.5. A key word back in the problem is this word average. So you probably remember from a previous math class that the average is to add up the total of the numbers and divide it by how many numbers there were. So this football player had 12 runs. We add those amounts together, divide it by 12 to get 5.5. Okay, that's all for this video. Please let me know if you have any questions on this homework assignment.